Thank you, Toby, and good morning, everyone. I'm Barbara Wells Ten Hove and have the pleasure and privilege of serving as your consulting minister this year. And as always, it's a wonderful moment for me when I get up from that chair and I get to come and stand and look and see all of you here to welcome you into this place that we love so much, our church home. Many years ago, a colleague and friend of mine wrote some welcoming words that speak beautifully to us this morning. Richard Gilbert wrote, "We bid you welcome who come with weary spirits seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid." And it's true that in any congregation at any time, there are people who come into this circle of care with burdened hearts, whose minds are struggling, perhaps who are in pain. So we welcome you. If you are that person, we welcome you. And then he goes on to say, "We bid you welcome who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. And perhaps you have brought some great joy into this room today. Perhaps you're proud of your kids. Perhaps you're proud of yourself. We welcome you, too. We bid you welcome who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. On any given Sunday, in any congregation like this, there are always people who come through our doors going, is this going to be my home? Is this my place? Perhaps you're asking yourself that question. You are welcome here. And then he goes on to say, we bid you welcome who enter this hall as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family. Oh, you know who you are. You know who you are. This is your family for so many. And so you are always welcome when you come through these doors. It's wonderful to be with our church family. And then finally, Richard writes, whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And I bid you welcome on this wonderful day. And our choir will be bidding you welcome with a version of these words put to music by the great musician and Unitarian Universalist minister, Jason Shelton.
Now, please join with me in the words we say each week. We kindle this flame as a symbol of our gathering.
May the light of understanding illuminate our darkness. May the warmth of sharing bring us peace. And now as our children and our new members find their way to the seats or to their classrooms, let us join together in singing this wonderful song that we love to sing to our children, but we will sing it to you as well. We hold you in our love. But don't go anywhere, new members. Stay put. I never get tired of that ritual welcoming. Bless you, new members, for joining with us on this journey, this mysterious journey that we call religious life. Let's just take a deep breath together. I invite you now to join with me, if you choose, in a spirit of prayer or reflection. Gracious One, whom we call by many names, on this day, we feel such gratitude for the many ways this church is present for its people, for the ways we open our doors and our hearts to each other, for the risks we take, for the love we give, for the faith we serve, and for the children who are our future. We pray that we will find the courage to be good stewards of this beloved community, maintaining a welcoming heart to all who enter here. We know that when we come into these doors, we bring our full selves, our hurts and our hunger, our love and our longing. And we often come through these doors with someone on our heart, someone who we are concerned about, someone who we miss, someone who is struggling. Perhaps that someone is even you. And each week we bring all of that into the circle of this community by first bringing into our hearts and into our minds the face of that beloved one who is struggling. And then we bring their name into our mind. And then we offer that name, if we choose, into this circle of love. If you have a name you wish to speak, please speak it now. So we light a candle for all those names that have been spoken and the names of those who were not spoken and the names of those we do not know but who need our love. And as always, our world struggles. There is so much hurt and unhappiness. But today, let us light our community candle, not for the struggle, but to honor those who are working to build a better world, to honor those who see the trouble and rise to meet it. Let us hold those gifts in our hearts today. And let us take a time in silence to hear the whisperings of our own hearts and to just breathe. You don't have to spend a lot of time with me to learn pretty quickly that I am a planner. I have an excellent capacity to think ahead, and I enjoy the planning process. When my husband Jock and I go on trips, I approach the planning for the trip as just a part of the journey. It makes me happy to imagine what's coming next. I'm also rather nostalgic. Recently, my sister found a bunch of old photographs from slides that my father had taken, and I just love looking at them. I see my parents when they were young, and it makes me smile. I see myself as a child, and God forbid, a teenager, and I remember who I once was. It's a lovely way to stay connected to where I come from. Now, these two qualities in myself, the tendency to spend a lot of time looking backwards in nostalgia and forwards to plan, are quite common among us humans. While we don't know as much about the rest of the animal world, we know for sure that humans are incredibly gifted at remembering the past and imagining the future. This isn't such a bad thing. Knowing about the past helps us learn from it. Imagining the future helps us to think ahead. But this tendency to either dwell in the past or hope for the future has its drawbacks. For when we do, we can forget that it is this moment and this one and this one. That's all we truly have. What we really only ever have is this now and the next one. That is what it means to be alive, to have an endless supply of now. Isn't that a wonderful expression? An endless supply of now. Now, someone said that to me some months ago. Maybe one of you? But here's the thing. I remember the expression, but I don't remember the person because I expect I was reminiscing about the past or thinking about the future when I was having that conversation. But I didn't forget the expression. I mean, what does it mean to have an endless supply of now? Let me begin unpacking it by naming the obvious. Of course, we don't have an endless supply of now because all of us will ultimately die. At that moment, our now ends and the mystery of death takes over. This is true. But it's also true that when we're alive and moving ever forward through time, the now is always present. Now is a curious phenomenon. Now is always and endless. And though this now is all we truly ever have, now doesn't really exist at all. I mean, think about it. The moment we live a now, it immediately becomes a then. You can't stop time and say, here it is, okay, here's my now. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Well, the theme this month at North Shore is possibility. So I suppose it's curious that I chose something impossible to talk about this morning. And yet here's what the Soul Matters packet had to say about this theme. That it will, I believe, lead nicely into what I want us to think about today. And I've asked Ariel to share this somewhat long quote with you.
Catholics talk of a time in the 3rd and 4th centuries when people would go to the desert and seek out monk-like hermits for guidance and wisdom. This tradition is referred to as seeking a word. These wise desert mothers and fathers would offer people a word or a phrase to ponder for weeks, years, and even a lifetime. The idea behind this practice was that a simple word, when reflected upon with discipline, has the power to create possibilities in us and in the world. These words weren't instructions as much as invitations to open oneself in new ways. As one writer puts it, they are about deepening and unfolding rather than fixing and improving. So this New Year's, let's lean into that work of unfolding rather than fixing. Forget about making a list of resolutions to improve yourself. Instead, try out this ancient practice of picking a word that will help keep you open to new possibilities throughout the year.
Wise words, I think. I would like to suggest that the word you might choose, if you are so inclined to choose one, is now. Now, why would I say that? Because the act of living in the present is so important and yet so difficult. Now is really the only thing we have, but most of us go rushing forward so fast, we forget to notice the moment we are in. We forget to believe in this beautiful now. So I'd like to invite us to take part in a small practice that might help us. Some of you may be familiar with the great Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh brought the concept of mindfulness meditation to the West when he left Vietnam and moved to France to found the Buddhist community, Plum Village. Has anyone been to Plum Village? Anybody? Yeah. Well, you'll have to tell us stories. Well, I expect that many of you have taken part in mindfulness meditation. Raise your hand if you've done that before. Yeah, a lot of us have done that before. Essentially, the idea is to just pay attention to the moment as it comes into your body, to not do what a lot of us do when we have times of quiet, focus on what's next or what we didn't do yesterday. Mindfulness is both incredibly simple and so very hard, at least for people like me. So it can be a powerful practice if we're willing to give it a try. So I'm going to ask that you take part in a short period of mindful meditation that comes from Thich Nhat Hanh's book, The Blooming Lotus. And we will use our breath, something we always have with us. In fact, I recently read a piece that Robert Fulghum wrote about occupations, and he said, we could put on our business cards our occupation is breather, because it's probably the one thing we all do the most. So I know you're good at it, so you're going to breathe. And then I have this gentle chime. Gentle, you'll hear that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring the chime, and when you hear it, I want you to notice your breath. And as you breathe in, say to yourself, breathing in, I dwell in the now. And then as you exhale, breathing out, it is a wonderful now. Breathing in, I dwell in the now. Breathing out, it is a wonderful now. Now I'll ring this gong a number of times, and each time you hear it, if your mind has wandered from your breath, as it probably will have, I know mine will have, just gently bring it back to this moment, to this now, and speak the meditative words to yourself again. Breathing in, I dwell in the now. Breathing out, it is a wonderful now. Breathing in, I dwell in the now. Breathing out, it is a wonderful now. Well, thank you for taking part in a small moment of mindfulness. I wonder if some of you might have found that difficult, or relaxing, or helpful. I know I do. But trying to stay in the now for even a few moments is really quite hard. But Buddhists and others who practice mindfulness meditation say it's truly life-changing. And I know it's been for me, even as I practice it far less frequently than I wish I did. The main thing I've noticed from this form of practice is that it helps me worry less. Since I am a first-class gold ribbon winning worrier, practicing mindfulness is extremely valuable. It keeps me here in the present, not wondering and worrying what might happen. And I believe it keeps me from being so afraid, particularly for the future. Now, I know that there are times when having some fear is appropriate. Fear can keep us on our toes and able to hop out of the way of danger. Yet far too often, concern about the future turns into inappropriate fear. Of course, it's reasonable to be afraid for our children and grandchildren when things are going to hell in a handbasket all over the place. Appropriate fear and worry about the past and the future can prod us to do all we can to prevent disaster and work to build a better world. Yet, if we remember this endless supply of now that is all around us, I would invite us to, at least now and again, let go of our worry and fear and discover the possibility of trust. Of trust. For if we don't notice this beautiful now and focus only on what might be rather than trusting what is, we can make choices that are not healthy for us or for our community or for our world. So let's practice. We just had one practice. Now you get another one. Let's practice having some trust in our now for just a moment. Take a look around you. Just look at each other. Take a look around you. This is your church. These are your people. Here. Now. In this place. Right now. Yes, I know that our church isn't perfect right now. Imagine that. I know you have desires and hopes for your future. You want to be in a better building. You want to call a wonderful minister. You want to make sure that you have enough money and time and people to have a strong congregation next year and 10 years from now and 50 years from now. But let me gently remind us that now is all we have. This now, right now. And right now, dear ones, beloved North Shore, you are a church that is strong and struggling. You are a church with amazing gifts and real limitations. You are a church with hopes and worries. And that's okay. You are not supposed to be perfect. No person is, no minister is, no congregation is. But in my role as your temporary minister, I am very aware of living in the now. For my now with you is quite short-lived. A year from now, you will have a different minister, that is true. But right now, I am your minister. I like saying that. I am your minister. And as I stand here before you today, I invite you to have faith in your future, yes, but to also have trust in what is right here before you this day, this place, these people, right now. Right now. No one ever said living in the now is easy. I find it one of the hardest things I can do. But this morning, as we celebrate these new members who have chosen to join us on the religious journey today, not tomorrow, I'm grateful to you, my friends, but I'm also grateful for this now. This morning, as we head into a congregational meeting to determine the choices we'll make about this coming year's financial priorities, let's celebrate what is already here and be grateful. Dear ones, you have so much right now. Be grateful. No one knows what tomorrow will bring. But right now, let us be glad to be together on this day that provides us, as every day does, an endless supply of now. Breathing in, now. Breathing out, wonderful now.
We extinguish this flame,
but carry with us the light of vision and the warmth of hope.
the world calls to us to live with depth, meaning, and purpose.
We go forth with courage and love. May this now, and this one, and this one, bless us with a sense of joy that we are alive at this moment in this circle of beloved ones, called to make this blue boat earth our home. I invite you now to reach out to a neighbor with a hand, touch a shoulder, as we sing this wonderful song of community, Circle Round for Freedom.